Hi, I'm Dan Hirsch, lecturer from the University of Wisconsin-Whitewater College of Business and Economics. And this is the buyers meeting that we were supposed to have. And unfortunately, we weren't all able to get together. And then when I did meet with Jillian and Ryan, unfortunately, we were trying to record this and it didn't happen. So, but we discussed a lot of things and found out some things. So I'm going to just share with you briefly what you need to know. I know you're quite familiar with a lot of technology, been using Zoom and GoToMeeting and quite a few other things. And a lot of you use WebEx. You were judging for the NCSC, the Kennesaw State competition. This can be very similar, but we're going to do things a little differently for it. So first of all, I want to let you know that we appreciate at Whitewater, the people at Paycom, the great opportunity you offer our students, and more importantly, the fact that you guys are willing to get up in the morning and spend a good portion of your day doing this role play for the Paycom presentation and close sales competition. So let me tell you a little bit about it. We started out at the beginning of the year with phone calls, and you got a lot of phone calls, and you had a wide variety of students. You had some students that were really good, and you had some students that weren't so good. And that's because it was just the second week. They'd only been in school for really, I think, maybe two actual meetings, two classes when they had to do this phone call, and most of them were scared to death. A lot of them were brand new juniors, or maybe they were junior last semester, but it's the first sales class they're taking. They just started taking business classes. Now they got to call somebody and ask for an appointment, and they were freaked out. But we also had students that have been doing this. This is, their 16th, 30th time doing it, 32nd time. So you probably saw a wide variety of quality. And I appreciate you doing that. We appreciate you doing that a lot. Now, they've had several other competitions in between with different parts of the process. And for May 6th on Wednesday, we are going to do the presentation and close. So I'll get into the scenario a little bit later. It's going to be a 10-minute meeting and actually a 15-minute time slot. And like I said, we're going to do things a little differently than we did with NCSC. We've decided to use something called WebEx meetings. So you've received a link, and that link is a link to WebEx meetings. And if you click on it, it'll probably ask you to download. It'll sense the type of equipment you're using, and it'll ask you to download the WebEx meeting app. So please put your name and use your paycomonline.com email address, because I've already have you entered into a room. So let me show you what this is all about, and so you have some idea what's happening. So how are we using this? Well, it's a little bit different. It's called WebEx Teams. So if you can download that WebEx Teams app, when you click on it, it's going to get you into your room. We have several rooms here. Room 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. I went into room 1 and I clicked on a little button to start up. Now, we're going to have door monitors. Actually, these are going to be students or may even act as judges. They're experienced students, and they're going to act as monitors, and they're going to let students in. What they weren't able to do for NCSC was be able to, let people in. So you had to redo the meeting, restart it every time. In this case, you'll click once, you'll get in the morning. So we start at 9 a.m. Central Time. We appreciate if you can get in 15 minutes beforehand. What you get is you'll get a little message saying, hey, room 1's open, or room 3, whichever room you're assigned to. And that means the monitor went in and clicked on the button and opened up the room. Okay, and now if you click on it, it should take you right into the room. If it doesn't, it might say waiting, and hopefully they see it, and I will be keeping an eye on it, watching it from the outside. We have myself, 2 other faculty members, an administrative assistant, and 2 of our tech people watching over this whole thing all day. We've run a couple of these now. It's run fairly smooth. We've had a couple little issues, but what it means is we don't have to re-click on the technology. Once you're in the room, you can leave it running all day long. We will allow the students in at their designated times, okay? And you as a buyer will be running the room. Now, a couple things. After as you click on it and before you get in, you always get to the screen that says Start Meeting, okay? And Start Meeting, when you click that, it's going to look like anything else, but you click on Start Meeting, and you can use the computer audio if you wish. Or you can just have it call me and use your phone for audio and then just use the computer for the rest. But you're going to have to make sure, no matter what, you're going to have to make sure your video is on. Now, I'm not going to do all that, and I'm going to start the meeting right now. Now, by the way, if the volume just went down when you did this, I'm going to talk a little louder, and if you could turn the volume up, that will help. I find that sometimes that is what happens. But this is what I want you to see, what the meeting room looks like. And this is what it looks like. So right now I have my microphone off and my video off because I'm using the camcorder, and that's why I'm using for audio as well. So it says right here, waiting for others to join. Well, when you get in over here, the people in the meeting, which is this area, that's me, Dan Herlash, there will be another person in there. That'll be your room monitor. These are the people that are part of the room but are not there, but you will see students begin to pop up here, and it'll say let in. And the room monitor will be able to go click on it and let them in. So you are the director of the room. The role play is 10 minutes. We have a 15-minute time frame. 10 minutes is a short time to do this role play. So what you can do is as they're getting close to the end and they're trying to close, if they're running up against that 10 minutes, and we're gonna ask you to keep track of the time, please, because the monitor isn't gonna be able to interrupt you a lot of times or interrupt them. It'll be hard for you to hear them say time. So we'll ask you to do it. Our monitors will also keep track of it, but when you get to 10 minutes, you can just look at them and say, hey, we only had 10 minutes for this meeting. I'm sorry, but I really got to get going. So can we wrap this up real quick and give them a chance to get it wrapped up? But again, at 11 minutes, it has to be a hard stop because you're going to have a link to a score sheet. You're going to have to click on that score sheet. Some little dots. It will not be as extensive as NCSC was. So it'll be 5 categories, and you'll score each one 1 to 10. And you have a place to write some notes. So it'll be pretty quick and easy. Shouldn't be too sophisticated. I know Ryan found it to be fairly easy to do. And if you could do that and then click submit and then set up the next one, and when you set up the next one, we'll have some drop downs. So you put your name or your room number and you click on the student you want. Who's going to be the next one. We will supply you with a list of students, and the door monitor will have that list of students as well to tell you who is next, okay? So, as you can see, it looks like every other one that you've been on. Not much difference other than you'll see people hanging out there. Now, you're the boss of the room, so if somebody has a technical issue and you got to give them a couple extra minutes because they weren't able to get started, please do, okay? We're not going to be quite as strict as NCSC. We can try to make up some time as we go. You're going to have 11 spots in the morning. You start at 9 o'clock with the first one. They go 15 minutes, 9:15, 9:30, 9:45, and so on. We will have one 15-minute break in the morning, one 15-minute break in the afternoon, and a half-hour break for lunch. If somebody has to take a break, as soon as we're done, we'll stop and give it a little extra time, get that person started a little later, and we'll squeeze it in. We'll make it happen. The nice thing is if one of those students get there, we can see them line up and we can get them in. So ultimately, you are the boss, and the moderator is there, or the monitor, the door monitor is there to help you out. And depending upon the age of the door monitor, and the experience, they may also be doing some judging as well. Okay. No feedback. We'll just use the judges' sheets to give them feedback, and that'll be it. So this should be fairly simple, and I'm going to get out of this. I'm going to close this meeting. I'll leave it. And again, that is what this is going to look like. So this is a little green button I'm talking about that the door monitor will push, and when they do that, it'll open it up. Okay. I do want to talk briefly about this scenario. This is a scenario that should look very familiar to you all, but we did make some changes. It's really now the third call. It's the laundry goal. The person's name is Jordan, and he or she was busy but told you to talk to his assistant Pat. So when we made that call, what really happened is you told them, hey, call my assistant Pat, get some information, then we'll get together. Okay? They found out some basic information from Pat. The only thing I really changed from your company standard one, and we're trying to dummy this down a little bit, but that normal turnover is 10% of employees. He's looking to hire 30 for the new employees to staff it, which you know already has 90 right now. Uses QuickBooks, all that's changed. But Pat also mentioned that Jordan expressed concern that the expansion plans would come with additional headaches. So that's something that you also need to know. Now, following your discussion with Pat, you called the prior sales rep and who thought he was arrogant, but I think I took that part out. But if you want to be arrogant, be arrogant. Oh, and by the way, a special thank you to the people from California. I know you have to get up really early in the morning, so to do this. But this, I just want you to know that it wasn't my idea. It was Ryan's. I said, we could start, 9 o'clock California. He said, no, 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 the heck with them. I'm kidding. Um, Thank you very much for doing this. And Ryan's been great to work with as well. So I'm really thrilled. So thank you. So anyway, when you do this call, here's where you're starting. You had a follow-up with meeting with Jordan. Okay, you are Jordan, but they had a follow-up meeting with Jordan, a needs ID call. These are all the things that they found out. These are all things that are going to be important. How much they're paying the accounting firm right now, how many pay periods they have. He gathers the time cards for the prior 2 weeks by picking them up each location on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. And then and while he finds it important to visit all his stores and managers, he recognizes he needs to find other methods as he continues to grow his business. And his plan for growth in the future includes 2 to 3 new locations every year going forward. Okay, on every other Thursday, he spends his day doing payroll. Well, we already know he spends 10 hours a day. And we're pretty sure he probably gets interrupted too, right? So it probably takes him all day. Doesn't get home till late at night sometimes. So he must submit it to the accounting firm so they have all day Friday to complete it. So it's something he has to do, right? And can't be late on the payroll. And then the accounting firm figures the taxes, does the withdrawal, sends the direct deposits, does all that stuff. And remember, a lot of these students don't even totally understand payroll. And they also send the withholding taxes to IRS in Virginia State. Then they send him their reports back and his payroll information. Then Jordan quarterly sends in his 941 report and the state report to file with the IRS in the state of Virginia. So that's what the firm is doing for him. It's a lot of manual work. Oh, and when asked about filing quarterly tax reports, he did have an error that he made a couple of years ago or last year, cost him $5,000 in back interest and fines. So that's something that you found out, or they found out. He's also concerned about buddy punching, and we decided on saying that buddy punching costs the average firm 1 to 3% of their payroll. So that's something he's concerned about, and so he'd be interested in the geo tracking, being able to have electronic data entry. He is spending his time right now reviewing resumes and searching for people on Indeed.com, Monster, and a variety of local job boards. And he's been using the accounting firm for referrals. And then the average time it takes for his assistant, Pat, to process the paperwork while onboarding is 2 hours per person. So with turnover, 9-10 people a year and another 30 people hired, that's going to be 40 people a year. That's 2 full working weeks doing nothing but processing paper. That's a lot of time. So anyway, you mentioned to Jordan when you had this needs ID that you thought you could save him substantial money and time in several areas, and he is now looking forward to meeting with you to see what your solutions are. So now they're preparing to present it, and we tell them that they should verify the info, brief introduction, reintroduction, verify the information that they got from Pat, and get right into the presentation. This is presentation. This is the proposal and the close, and of course it's the objections. So we came up with, when I say we've talked to Ryan and Jillian, we came up with a couple of objections. I'll let them talk to you about it, but basically the first objection would be right off the bat, being it's only 10 minutes, a short role play. We won't have time to get a lot into objections, unfortunately. But the first one would probably be, hey, I'm just really busy right now. I don't have time to meet. I'm sorry, working on this expansion and everything else. Can you just send me the proposal and I'll get back to you? Now, I will say this, there's always some young student that gets totally stymied by it and they're ready to go, well, okay, yeah, that's fine. And they start, and then pretty soon they're ready to, so, when can I call you back? And they're going to just give up right there. And you can say, well, if they give you no fight, you can just say, well, I did promise you I'd give you 10%. Okay, but all you got is 10 minutes, so we'll have to hurry it up. Okay, so there might be a few like that because I say there's a wide variety of experience in the room from very young to pretty well experienced and semi-professional salespeople. The last objection we thought would be, this, when they show you the money, or first it's gonna be how much does this cost if they don't show it to you, and secondly, uh, the next step would be, you know, man, I can't afford that kind of money. And if they've done a good job cost justifying it, then it should be an easy way to handle it. If not, they're going to have to get into some more detail and cost justify it to handle it. Now, at the end, it's going to be up to you. I did give them a lot of material and links here, and then also just a basic price breakdown. Hopefully, they're smart enough to fill that out. And then Paycom agreement for them to sign, have you sign. And of course, they should have hopefully noticed and realized that Laundry Go can terminate the contract at any time. So if that becomes an issue, but hopefully it's not. They should be asking to sign the contract. And at the end there, if they did a good job, say, yeah, send it over, I'll get it right back, and I'm looking forward to getting it started, and that should be fine. If they really didn't do a good job and convince you that you should be going with Paycom, say, well, why don't you send it to me? I'll think about it and I'll look it over, and I'll let you know. And they might try to do something, or at least they might say, yeah, I'll do that. When can I get back to you? And maybe they're smart enough to set a specific time. That's a plus. And if they just say, yeah, okay, I'll send that right over, and that's it, well, they didn't close it very well. So it's obviously going to affect their score. So here is the score sheet. I'm just going to show you this real quick. It's not going to look like this. It'll look just like the one you had at NCSC. So it's going to actually be, it's not going to be a Google form, but it'll look like a Google form. It's from Qualtrics, and you'll have a place where you enter your name, or it'll be a drop down with your name and your room number. So make sure you know your room number that you're in. And I will be sending another email out with some of that detail for you. And then there'll be, and forget about, we're going to weigh the scores. So you're going to score every section 10 points. So we'll probably have the opening, we'll probably include in there presenting the outline agenda and gate a commitment to continue the agenda, and then summarize the prior meeting. Okay, and then we'll go into the actual presentation part, which is right here, which is utilize open-ended questions and so on. So it's a lot of what NCSC did, but we're going to basically call it introduction and agenda. There'll be a brief description, and then the next section will be actual presentation. Trial, presented according to information received before, demonstrated fit, and use trial closes to gauge interest. And then gaining commitment, we'll have some on closing. We'll have something maybe on handling objections, and then an overall, what was it? So you'll have a score of 1 to 10, and the whole thing will total up to about 50 points. So it'll be fairly quick and easy for you to score. And at the bottom, you'll be able to write in your comments, just like you did at NCSC. And they're not going to be after each section. So just write them in, because we know you're doing the buying. It's hard to do that. So score it quickly, write in a few comments that you can remember. The students just love getting the comments, and it'll be fairly quick. Hit click, probably take you a minute or two to fill out the scorecard. Okay, that's it right now. Again, really appreciate you being willing to do this. Thank you very much. Very nice of you. And make sure you get names. Make sure you check out those names. We do have a link to a resume board that was sent out. I know it was sent out to Ryan or Heather for sure, I think, and maybe Ryan. But if you see some people that you think are worth following up, we have a lot of juniors and seniors in here. I know that your internship program for the summer is out, but you have that school year-long internship program. We are located right between Milwaukee and Chicago, two of your offices. So we have students that can do those. We also yeah, and I think you have actually 3 offices, Naperville and Chicago. So we're within, I think, about an hour and a half of Naperville, maybe hour 45 minutes. So and we're within an hour of Milwaukee, and probably downtown Chicago is 2 hours, something like that. So anyway, that's where we are. And we have some great students and a great program, and I know they're looking for jobs when they graduate. And we have seniors who have their jobs rescinded. So you take down some names. You might find some people that are really interested in talking to Paycom. Okay, I think you have a great opportunity for our students. I love it, and really want to see more Whitewater kids working for you. So anyway, thanks much. Appreciate everything you're doing. Take care.